It's Wednesday, June the 1st, 2011. Good morning, Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning, good morning to you.
Wednesday mornings are a little bit warmer usually, but this is a great day that the Lord has made. It's June the 1st. It's the start of the hurricane season. I'm Pearson Bowen, and a very good morning to you. Morning, Katrina and Cassandra.
Morning, Pearson. How you
Morning.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You?
Yes, I'm good. I am thankful. Like a viewer, a regular viewer says, I'm thankful and a blessed and a wonderful day to you too, Gail. Good morning.
That sounds very much like Gail. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for choosing us to start your morning off right with. I know I've started off right with my colleagues around the table. And of course, powered up with some beans. Morning to all you coffee drinkers.
Yes, my beans are in there too.
I'm sure they are.
But the saga
Where
with
are my
Sepp Blatter,
beans?
Jack Warner, outside. Sepp Blatter, Jack Warner continues. The conference is ongoing, and it seems as if Sepp Blatter will be returned as president.
Yeah.
But they sought yesterday, the CONCACAF organization, to fire Blazer, the guy who pulled the whistle, really? Who blew the whistle?
That easy?
No, because CONCACAF said, Lyle Warner, no, you don't have the authority to do so.
What makes Blazer so special is my question.
Yeah.
That's my question to you. You know what's also interesting to me, Cassandra? The fact that the more we talk about it, the more allegations.
The legs?
Exactly. It has
legs.
more legs. The more the allegations come out.
More is happening.
Now there's another report coming out that's saying that the family of Jack Warner's travel agency has somehow managed to gain from the cash for votes scandal, and it's all coming out.
Wow.
It's all coming out.
Well,
so
Trinidad has to do
follow
something. There's also a very bizarre story that where a school in Croydon, London has banned any kind of physical contact. No high fives, no shaking of the hands, no hugging, none of that. And this is among children. This is not even adults.
What's going on?
I know. Is there like an E. coli
They want to
outbreak?
avoid bullying, perversion, and all sorts of physical contact.
So you also cut social interaction.
That's what they want.
You know, there's a study that says that children who were hugged less as children have their brains are 4% smaller. No word of a lie. I'm serious.
Not just the children.
Blessed assurance. Tell us the news, please.
I will. These are the stories that we are following in our main news package at the top of the hour. We are going to give you some Morning Barbados top lines. Join you. We hope you join us then. Barbadians have been responding well to the waiver of interest and penalties on monies owed to the National Insurance Scheme. Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says the program is resulting in several individuals and businesses reducing their arrears. One of the most difficult tasks facing government is to get self-employed people to contribute to the National Insurance Scheme. Prime Minister Frundle Stewart has told the House of Assembly it's hard to convince these people to plan for their declining years by contributing to the scheme while they are working. Barbadians are overlooking the option of fostering for children. Coordinator of the Foster Care and Adoption Program, Esther Bailey-Smith, says while Barbadians are opting for adoption, fostering should also be explored. One Cropover band leader is refusing to use songs with vulgar lyrics this season. Anwar Mohammed of Vision 2020 Community Band says he has found that certain songs attracted lewd behavior on the roads Kadooment Day. And finally, the Caribbean will be strongly represented at the June 8th to 10th United Nations high-level meeting on HIV/AIDS. The Caribbean Community Secretariat said that regional leaders, ministers of health, as well as foreign affairs representatives and various civil organizations will attend the meeting at the United Nations. Those have been your Morning Barbados top lines. Join us for our main news package at the top of the hour. But for now, we find out what's making headlines around the world. And for that, we go to Cassandra Crawford, who's got a copy of the International Herald Tribune.
It's 4 after 6 o'clock, and you can, of course, check out Newspaper Direct through their website, www.newspaperdirect.com, or you can give them a call at 436-1314. A major headline on the front cover of the International Herald Tribune today, huge new package planned for Greece. It says here a new rescue package for Greece is taking shape, one that would offer billions of euros in fresh loans in return for accelerated privatization and tougher tax collection compensation measures on the part of the beleaguered Greek government. While the agreement for as much as 60 billion euros or $86 billion would in theory address Greece's need for cash this year and next year, it puts off for the time being a restructuring, hard or soft, of Greece's mammoth debt burden. At the deal's heart would be an informal understanding that the private sector holders of Greek government bonds might be persuaded to roll over their debts or extend new loans at the time their older obligations come due. And that is a look at the International Herald Tribune. Yes, the only place to go now is to take a look at our local newspaper headlines.
Well, on the front page of today's Midweek Nation, we brought you the story yesterday on the CBC Evening News when we took our cameras to Silver Sands because something bizarre had washed up on the beach there. The question is, could this be the sea monster that fisherman Joel Brooker and his partner spotted at sea last November? Question mark. Find out the answer to that question in today's Midweek Nation. Also, the NUPW boss challenges the minister on page 4A. Challenges him about what? You remember Chris Sinclair, the Minister of Finance, made the statement that statutory corporations were burdened on taxpayers. Now the NUPW's General Secretary is asking the question, tell us, is this at the National Housing Corporation, the Sanitation Service Authority, the Barbados Water Authority? You tell us, Mr. Minister. On the back page, manhunt. The police are looking for 3 who demanded cash in an extortion bid. And there's also a graphic picture of the well where yesterday, as we reported, the lady fell to her death. And that's on the back page of today's Midweek Nation.
And on the front cover of the Barbados Advocate, out the window, as we've been saying, the hurricane season begins today, and the head of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, Jeremy Collymore, is saying that the seasonality of disasters that concept is out the window. He says he's warned, excuse me, that last year was intense, and officials took serious note of the question of extreme events. Now, he's saying you have to be ready 24 hours around the clock, 365 days a year. Quickly on the back page, alternative energy, the way forward. A prominent local businessman has suggested that the country has not capitalized on alternative energy as it should. We've been talking about that. Find out which businessman that is. Pick up a copy of the Barbados Advocate.
And we have many headlines to make here on Morning Barbados today as well. It is a wonderful Wednesday, so much to share. It's Cropover time, and while some people have decided they're taking a stand, they're not playing any lewd lyrics during their Cropover bands, we'll find out what the others have to offer. In fact, today we will see what Betty West has on offer. She's been a part of the festival for a number of years, and she keeps coming with good stuff.
That's some of the things we have on tap for you today. We'll take a break and come right back with more.
Morning Barbados, good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
The 41-member Barbados Crift team recently returned home after a highly successful outing at the 40th Annual Crift Games in Jamaica. Double gold medalist Akila Jones.
The experience in Jamaica was a fantastic one. Actually, this was the most fun Crift I ever had. I actually could do any event I put my mind to, but I tend to like the high jump and long jump because of the training. The training is actually easier than running, so I actually go towards the long jump.
The government and people of Barbados salute Akila for her gold award-winning performances in the high jump and the long jump.
Regional HIV Testing Day is Friday, June 24th.
I'm getting tested so I know my status.
I'm doing it because I want to be sure.
We're doing it
For each other.
It's about protecting yourself and those you care about. When you get tested, you're taking control of your life.
Getting a test is just a smart thing to do.
The Caribbean Broadcast Media Partnership on HIV/AIDS in association with Scotiabank and local ministries and departments of health will be opening these testing centers so that you can get tested and know your status. There's no fear, no shame. It's easy and it's free. Get tested on June 24th, Regional Testing Day, and live up.
CBC is encouraging you to change your health with a daily nutritional tip brought to you with the compliments of Bds Diet Designs.
Reduce your chances of getting cataracts with vitamin E. For more vitamin E, eat nuts and seeds. But remember, when it comes to nuts, a handful is enough. Eating nuts can protect your eyesight.
CBC, changing our community one tip at a time.
Wednesday. Blake! I'm pregnant. What the hell?
What's up, champ? See, you got to cover ESPN. Congrats, man. Did he just grunt me? See, that's some old racist mess. My mailman used to do that, and I checked him, too.
The Game, Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. on CBC TV8.
Morning, Barbados, good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
10 after 6 o'clock in this Wednesday morning, and we have with us James Husbands of Solar Dynamics. He's also a huge entrepreneur. He knows about making businesses better, and we will learn from him today how we can all make our businesses better. Mr. Husbands, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Better businesses require better assembly lines or better assemblers, as in people? What is it?
You need both. First of all, the business concept. What kind of business do you want to be in? And what would that business look like? If it's in a supermarket type business, it's very different to manufacturing. If it's a service industry, and some manufacturing businesses also have service components of them. In fact, all businesses have service components.
Yes.
But in terms of outward service to the customer rather than just being served in the place of business. So what is a business concept? There are a number of people who have business concepts which they want to look at. What are the things they want to look at? What are the critical things? Okay, you have a business concept, you need the finance, you need human resources, you need also a place to operate. So location. Critical to all of this is the selection of human resource. And the selection of human resource depends largely on the type of business you're going to be in. Do you need people who are going to be focusing on the service delivery? Yes, you do. Do you need people who are bright? Yes, you do. But of course, the main thing is attitude. What is the attitude of the individual to the person they're serving? And attitude is huge in the whole concept. And we always look for someone who has the right work attitude, right attitude, then the right work ethic. And so these are, sometimes we find that we don't have enough.
Sometimes we confuse the right work attitude with docile behavior. That's not necessarily what we're talking about, somebody who we can take and whip into shape.
No, not at all. Not at all. You need someone who can disagree with you, but not in a disagreeable manner.
Right.
Because you need good ideas. You need the existing ideas need to be refreshed. You need people who will take a concept and run with it. So you need a group of diverse individuals who can say, okay, this is what we've been doing. This is the way we've been doing it. But here's a new idea, or here's a new concept.
Well, you know, Mr. Husbands, it's all well and good to talk about maintaining the right attitude. We all put on our good face in the interview and perhaps in the first 6 weeks of employment. How do we maintain that attitude and keep motivated when the shine of the newness of the job has worn off?
That is the first critical problem we have, you know. The person who you interview is not necessarily the same person who turns up to work.
There you go.
And even we find that fairly often. So you really... That's why there is a getting to know you period. That's why you need perhaps someone within the organization to mentor the person coming in. But you need people to give you the feedback. Is this person the right person for our type of business? And I've been finding more and more that you need to rely on those who are core to the business to ferment the new persons coming in, to make sure that they have the right attitude, to make the right fit. You know, even things like being in the lunchroom, the way they speak, the way they interact, the level of conduct, the level of conversation. Do you fit into this organization, or is this person a misfit?
And just as a follow-up to that, sorry, Cassandra, is this the follow-up to that? So then do you advocate the concept of a probation period? Some people find that offensive in some way, like you don't trust me. But do you then advocate a probationary period for that precise reason?
I like a long probationary period. I like 6 months.
Wow.
People like 3 months, but I can tell you, that's all right.
I won't be applying to Solar Dynamics.
That's okay.
That's a little long to keep up the good work.
But you know, you can do it 3 months, and then at the end of 3 months, you can extend it. You reserve the right to extend the probationary period. So some people may be very comfortable with 3 months, but you know something? if you're good at what you do, the length of probation doesn't matter. Does not matter.
It may go by and you wouldn't even realize,
you wouldn't realize
you're
it.
doing
If
what
you're not putting on, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you're putting on, you need a shorter period even.
Okay, I want to go back a little bit, obviously very much related, but in the beginning you mentioned that, you know, you have to decide what kind of business it is, so you know whether you're going to get, your HR team is critical, you know, they are related. You need to know what type of business so you know how to structure. How do you decide, what are some of the things you have to consider to decide how critical your HR team is to the business and things like that?
The HR team is always critical. In smaller businesses, of course, we don't have an HR team. We may have one person or two persons responsible for HR, but I find that if you have 3 or 4 persons responsible for the business, it is better to let more than 1 or 2 persons interview, because you may still get it wrong.
Right.
But if you don't rely on one person to do the interview, it's wholesome. HR is critical because HR is fundamental to the way the business is run. HR essentially is the vehicle through which the mission of the company is achieved. The selection, the training, the reinforcement, the motivation, all of those things are important in terms of the HR function, so that the individual coming in needs to be, you need to get that coded into the system. But HR's function in actual fact is to make sure that the mission of the company is delivered through its people.
And vice versa, that the desires, wants, wishes perhaps, and concerns of the employee are also filtered back up. Is that also part of the mission of the HR?
That is a very critical mission, and very often we're doing more than meets the eye. Sometimes HR is sending people for counseling. Sometimes HR is asking someone, look, we're going to arrange for you to have some sessions because I think you need some help in this area. HR is saying, look, your next level requires a little bit of training. You're good at A, but this is associated, so we want you to do this, or we want you to do that. Or here's something which we find that you need to take a bit of a file and work with. Yes, yeah, make it a little smoother. So HR encompasses a lot of things, but really the HR function is to prepare the individual and keep the person ready, willing, and able to deliver on the mission of the company.
Are you an advocate of retraining? If, let's say, despite the probationary period, I apply for a job as a clerk typist, but more and more you realize that I'm good with numbers. Somewhere in there, is there any scope for, and do you advocate kind of a lateral movement across departments depending on the skill set that an employee shows over time?
Yes. For example, we have 2 persons now in customer service who actually started out in reception. Okay, so this is the first stage, and you do this well. You meet and greet our customers, you look after them well, you hear all the concerns, you hear all the praise. Now, can you transition that to customer service? So retraining or training in another area, an associated area, if someone is good at numbers, it's very useful. You also need to bring in some new talent, even if it is 2 days a week. For example, you have a lot of students at university. So we have 2 students who come in, they do 2 or 3 days a week. We have a student now from France who is doing engineering. He's going to be in his master's program, so he's helping in production, he's helping technicians refine their skills. So there are things which are training, and cross-training is ongoing.
Go ahead. Okay, how easy is it though to, include the young blood, the new blood with the fresh ideas and the new ways of doing things without offending those, sometimes people who've been in a business for a long time or in a position for a long time have trouble taking, information, don't want to say instruction, from younger people. Last comment really.
It depends largely on the attitude of the young person and the person who's established in the business. So you really need to get them together and say, look, let us have a little bit. We have some new ideas here, or we want to have some new ideas. This is what we are doing right now, and we consider it to be successful, but there's some new ideas on the block, or we want new ideas. How can we do what we do better?
That has to be the culture of the organization.
Yes.
That empowers that kind of dialogue.
Right.
Yeah. All right, we've got to leave it there, Mr. Husbands.
Thanks so much.
And we've already dealt with HR. So we haven't dealt with location, the plan, the company purpose, all of those kinds of things. So clearly a good reason for you to come back.
HR is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So we'll work on it.
All right. Thank you so much to James Husbands, Solar Dynamics entrepreneur. We looked at better business today. Here's hoping you earned and learned something from it as well. Taking a break, coming back with more.
Morning, Barbados, good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
It's time for BMX 2011 at the Port Erskine Sandiford Centre, June 10th to 13th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Adults $15, children 12 and under $5. You'll be blown away by the finest food, furniture, and construction manufacturers have to offer. Enjoy a weekend of amazing artistry and awesome family fun. Also witness our ever-sizzling boardwalk fashions and enjoy the nightly local entertainment. BMX 2011. Innovation through inspiration.
Your first glimpse of the major stories being followed for Thursday's edition of the CBC Evening News comes your way in the Globe Finance headlines. First at 7 is your first look at the major stories of the day with the compliments of Globe Finance. Think outside the bank.
Community Files.
If you are between the ages of 4 and 16 and looking for an exciting and educational way to spend your summer, the National Summer Camp program is just the place for you. Learn drama, dance, music, art, craft, and more. Collect your registration forms from courts in Bridgetown, Speightstown, Sheraton Centre, Cape Shepherd, Broad Street, primary schools, the Barbados Youth Service in Warren's Industrial Park, or the Division of Family and Youth at the Elsie Payne Complex on Constitution Road. Community registration will take place at Sheraton Centre on June 11th, 17th, and 18th from 4 until 7 p.m. Registration forms will not be accepted at camp venues.
Morning, Barbados, good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
22 past 6 o'clock now. For over 15 years, she's been central to the success of Cropover by putting on her bands, by jumping, by doing every kind of thing. And this year she's back. She's back with a big bang. We're talking about Betty West. Good morning to you, Betty.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning. Yes.
Morning.
And it's not 15 years. This is my 20th year.
20th?
So I'm celebrating my 20th year.
Congratulations.
This year I'm coming as usual with two bands, junior and adults. My junior band is called My Fairy Tales, because I wrote all the fairy tales. It's going to be a lot of drama and so on. But this morning I'm showing you the adults band, which is called Bds Remedy.
Why that concept?
Okay, the thing is, over the years, Barbadians and Caribbean people have been using different things as remedies instead of going to the pharmacy, whatever.
Yes.
And now the topic is, you know, certain things is good for you. In Barbados and the Caribbean, we have all the herbs and so on, and there are also beliefs of what will heal you.
Right.
Yeah, so this is how it came about. And I wanted to do a band with no feathers.
Interesting.
And this year, and this year,
feathers, Betty?
no feathers. And this year, what I've done is gone back to creating, using materials, certain materials to make flow and so on and whatnot. You'll see it in the costumes coming up.
What are the colors that we can expect? Because from the sound of that, Bds Remedies, I mean, this is a whole potpourri of things we're talking here.
At least, in the beginning, I was going to have an all-green band, but I thought Barbados wouldn't be ready for that. So we have greens, red, white, purple, blue, yellow. You will see them all.
7 sections.
7 sections.
Males and females.
Males and females, but this morning is only the females here.
Okay.
The males somehow can make it this morning.
That's all right.
Yes.
So you are here this morning, though. I know that you plan to cater for 500 persons in your adult band. You know, how soon will the band house doors fly open?
Okay, we launched last Saturday, and it was a very, very, very good feedback. People are coming in. We are open now, and every day we're open from 10 in the morning until about 11 at night.
Excellent.
Yes, and I'm located the back of Material Things in Worthing, next to Club Extreme, that area.
We're just early bird people. There's a business kind of approach to Cropover. So even in the week you've been open, tell me about the response.
Good response. The problem I'm having this year actually is people can't make up their mind where they want to go in the band.
Which section?
Which section. I've given it my all this year. You know, I want to go to the top this year. I want to make a good 20th anniversry.
Nice.
So this is what I'm working on.
Are we going with you?
I like breadfruit leaf already.
Let's
it's my color. It's my color. Woo!
Wow.
Lovely.
I'm so glad there are no feathers. I really
yes.
That's different.
Yeah, we had to use beads because of braids for highlighting, but you would see the costume actually saying what it is. The breadfruit leaf, we use lame. Bristol board and so on to form the leaf with sequins and so on, but I want the judges to see exactly what I'm portraying, so it's there.
Well, there's no question that is indeed a breadfruit leaf. It's like you've literally taken a leaf and superimposed it onto some cardboard.
It's beautiful.
I like the flow of this flower. This is hibiscus.
This is the hibiscus. We're going to glitz it up a little bit more, and I must tell you, I didn't tell you about the breadfruit leaf. I even learned the remedy of them, but we are now on the hibiscus.
Yes.
The hibiscus is, I could?
Yes, I know.
Seriously.
Yes, and what besides the tea, you use it as a poultice, the flowers.
True.
If you have sort of infection in the skin, like a lump or something like that, you use that for that.
Excellent. Beautiful,
Sweet.
Betty.
Look at how easy it is to wear. That's what I think is going to make it even more fun on the road, really, the ease of wear.
I don't see anything there that suggests that I would want to, get rid of any of it. You know how you have a pile
and I designed that red one for the younger ones.
King Turner, you can do your dance. It's Cropover time. We're celebrating. Yeah.
This is the pawpaw, and the pawpaw, the green pawpaw, you could use it for lowering the pressure.
Yes.
And the ripe one, you use it as a laxative first thing in the morning.
Yes.
So
this
as you
is
could see,
beautiful.
And
is that some kind of grass you've used?
Yes, it's the coconut
headpiece?
palm. It's the coconut palm, and what we've done is bend the pawpaw out of wire, and it's cotton material and whatnot. What I did this year, because the cost of doing costumes and so on, what I did this year is try to keep my costs down.
Right.
But just create things that people would be interested in.
All right.
This is my
section. Book me for this
I
section.
tell you, this is spring.
Lovely.
And it's for the soul. Barbadians always say, listen, I'm going up to the spring and say a prayer and get a little bath and so on. So this is all the spring.
And she actually looks like the person who should lead the band.
Yeah, she's in the middle of the band.
Lovely.
And that's in the middle. Imagine the lead.
Yes. And the thing is, with that, we use a lot of sparkle nylon and wire and so on and whatnot.
How long does a costume like this take to put together, Betty? Because the duplication,
Yes. When you're doing the prototypes, you got to pull out and my producer and so on and put back and whatnot. But we have a time target. We have a target.
Right.
So we have to finish by a certain time. We'll get them sorted.
Something tells me that these sections are going to sell out in a second because they're really, really beautiful.
Yeah, the purple one is sweet basil. And sweet basil, there are two forms. A green one, which you use in food, and this one you boil it and you use it if you have athlete feet and so on. Yes. When we were putting this together, it was so difficult. And then I look in my neighbor's backyard and saw a plant. So we just followed the plant.
Very nice of you.
There's such an education in all of this, though, really. Because
it is. You have to read and search up things. This one here is the orange peel.
As if we could know, as if there was any doubt.
Yeah, you can see.
Yes,
this is what we. Some of the section we're going to have standards, but some of them with the height of the headpiece.
Yeah.
And the orange, parents, and I still do it,
Yes.
besides the orange juice, we boil the orange peel and put a little in it, and that's good vitamin C.
Yes,
it is.
yes,
It
it
is.
is. It is.
Very nice, Betty.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
What I love about the fact that you keep telling stories.
Of course.
It's not
Of
just a
course.
fantasy. It's not
That's
just a
it.
jump up. You research. You put your heart into it, and
Yes.
there's an awful lot of thinking.
Look at seawater.
This one is seawater.
Okay, no, Cassandra, no,
Many
I'm torn.
people have had
Blue
many doses of
versus
seawater.
white.
I'll tell you what, you know, if you get a bruise, your parent take you and put in your seawater,
Clap your
and
knees.
there's a lot of
Salt
minerals
Clap
in it,
your
you know,
knees.
for stiffness and so on and so
Absolutely.
on. So it's things that Barbadians were doing over the years, and we are still doing it.
Yes,
And
yes.
the interesting detail with the cape, of course, makes it even more
Yes.
visually pleasing on the
And
road.
if
If
in-
there's some choreography as well
That's
to go
it.
with it.
And in the headpiece, you could see the waving of the ocean
Right,
and so
right.
on.
Of course. So we're going to take a look at everyone
I don't understand
now.
why they're not enjoying the music.
Oh,
This
they'll-
is supposed
they'll work
to
up
look
to
like
it.
mass.
Well, the band is
Enjoy,
called
let's see you
Bajun
dancing.
Remedies.
We
Bajun
start with
Remedies.
Bajun Remedies, and from, I think we're
From
going right to
breadfruit
left,
to
from
hibiscus.
seawater to orange
Tell
peel,
them to enjoy
sweet
this.
basil. We have spring in the center, the papaya, red hibiscus, and of course breadfruit. I'm so torn, Betty. Blue versus green.
I want to
section.
say something, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I can't mention all the sponsors because I can't, but Superior Plastic have been there for me every year, and they're the people a small business who started off this, that tell me we have to come, we have to do it. I want to
Right.
say thanks to all my sponsors. I can't mention all the name, and we're still out there looking for some help from corporate. Okay.
It looks like a winning band to me already.
Thank you so much.
Bajun Remedies. If we still want to register, we can come to the band house in Worthing.
Yes.
Just behind where the
At
shelter
the back of
used to
material
be.
action. That's it. That's
Where
it.
the shelter
That's
used to
it.
be.
Yes.
Powered by Folks
And-
Old Home.
And the number is 243-8500. You can reach me anytime.
8500.
Betty, tell us what some of the prizes you've won through the years and what you're hoping for this time around.
This year, one year, I'm only going to talk of one particular year. I had, the name of the band was Big Up Bajan Events. And from the beginning, I knew I was a winner. And I feel the same about this band.
Lovely.
Yes.
I feel it too.
All the
Yes.
betting it. I'm
Thank you.
already infected by
Thank you.
the rhythm.
So you can't tell which section you want to
No,
jump in.
the
I
white
told
or
you
the
that.
I want to jump in
I told
too.
you. Yes, yes.
I want the
And the-
headpiece from Spring Water. I want the skirt from Breadfruit. And let me see. I don't know what I take from Sweet Basil, but I do love Sweet Basil. They're all beautiful.
Yeah, and I
of course,
must
our
say,
models. Thank you very much to our
Yes.
models.
and I
Beautifully
must say, we cater for everybody. Some of the two pieces, we'll make whole pieces. If we have to make shorts, the costume is like we cater for all.
Flexible.
Yes, we are
Excellent.
flexible. Okay?
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Thank you so
Again,
much.
if you want to register to be a part of Bajun Remedies, which is the grand Kadooman offering from Betty West, of course, is going to be a winner yet
20
again.
years, Pearson.
20 years,
20
that's right.
years.
And it's a great way to cap off that anniversary. You can visit the band house, which is located just behind Material Things in Worthing, or you can call 243-8500. 243-8500. The band house is open from 10 in the morning till 11 in the night.
So you have no excuse.
None
It's open when
whatsoever.
you're finished work or just before, depending on what time you go into work. So please go down and visit the band house. And if you're anything like me, you'll take a little time to make up your mind which section.
Breadfruit leaf, hibiscus, papaya, spring water, or you may call it pawpaw. So breadfruit leaf, hibiscus, pawpaw, spring water, spring, sweet basil, orange peel, and seawater. There they are having fun for the Cropover Festival, and you'll find out all about the prices. Very reasonable for these 7 sections. In these times, you need reasonable and beautiful, and you have it with Betty West.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
done.
much for coming, Betty, and congratulations on 20 successful years in the business. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more for you on Morning Barbados. Don't go away.
Morning, Barbados, good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
The 41-member Barbados Crift team recently returned home after a highly successful outing at the 40th Annual Crift Games in Jamaica. Gerard Mason captured gold in the under-17 boys 800 meters and bronze in the 400 meters.
They said the third time is a charm, so first time I went, it was bronze. once, and second time I went was gold, but not with a record, and this time it was a record, so this experience, this time around, it was good fun. I take it step by step, so right now I'm looking for a scholarship to go away and do good out there.
The government and people of Barbados salute double medalist Gerard Mason.
Stocks, currency valuations, oil prices, mergers, acquisitions. The world of business impacts on our lives every day. The CBC Evening News Business Report puts it all into perspective, bringing you the stories that matter most. On Tuesdays, in association with Sagicor General, wise financial thinking for life.
Barbados Lumber Company now has in stock at its Waterford and Spikestown branches newly arrived shipments of treated Honduras pitch pine and southern yellow pine at very competitive prices. If you're now starting to build or just doing renovations to your home, give us a call at 425-1370 or 422-4101 and we'll work with you to satisfy your building needs.
Barbados Lumber Company.
Twenty-five to 7 o'clock, the phone rings, a baby is born, lots of things happening in the doctor's office and the doctor's in the house today. We have Dr. Adrian Lord as we have our doctor on the line. As you know, we will be taking your calls on 228-5562, 228-5563, an opportunity for you to get into the doc freely, really, this morning. Morning, Doc.
Morning, Pearson.
Morning, Doc.
Good to see you.
Morning.
Hassle-free, according to Cassandra, hassle-free healthy eating. That's what we're going to be focusing on today.
Yes, that's a good idea to talk about that. Because sometimes people want to eat healthy, but they say it's too much hassle. They can't get this, can't get that. But it's easy, you know, drink lots of fluids. You should eat 3 to 4 portions of fruit per day and lots of vegetables. Cut down the oil and greasy things. Use a lot of fish. Not the fancy fish, the shrimp and so on might not be as healthy as others, and the fish should not be fried necessarily, and get some exercise.
Doc, you know, I'm a born skeptic when it comes to this, you know, easy, healthy eating thing. Who has time when they're on the road all day long, running from meeting to meeting, to have 3 portions of fruit?
Unfried. Unfried meat. Go ahead.
No, but seriously, walk me through how we can manage the healthy and the busy, because we're all busy on some level.
Yes, well, no, you need to plan ahead. So if you know you're going to be on the road a lot, then you need to know when to slot your eating habits, or, you know, it's not always easy to eat and drive, but I wouldn't recommend that either. But yeah, no, you need to plan ahead, and you know, you can have your fruit at breakfast before you leave home, and some of us leave home very early, and then you have some snack. When you're having that coffee break, it could be a fruit break.
You mentioned lots of fish. We have a caller. We're going to be coming to you very shortly, and there's a number on the screen. You can call 228-5562 or 63. But you mentioned fish in particular. Chicken is also supposed to be a good protein. Do you still recommend that?
Yes, of course. Chicken and fish are good proteins and low cholesterol type foods.
All right, let's find out about the question then.
Yes, let's take the call. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Doc.
Morning.
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. How are you? Just kidding. Go ahead with your question. Go ahead with your question.
I have a 3-year-old daughter. She is constipated now for a week and a half. I have her on fruit and water, and I'm giving her lactulose, but nothing is still coming.
You said 2 or 3-year-old?
3.
Okay. Prunes.
Given what, prunes?
I just said that.
Yeah. Oh, you said, yeah. No, sometimes a change in diet could affect young children, and sometimes it may just be that the milk that you're using. I think you mentioned something about lactose. Lactulose, right. So that's a better thing, or soybean type, soya-based milk would be a lot healthier for that child.
But she does not drink formula.
Does not.
She's big now.
Yeah. Well, and the child is eating, so you need to give there again lots of fruit. Fruit will be good. Children don't like too much vegetables at that age, but fruit and fiber. Fruit has a lot of fiber in it, and that will help the bowels to move regularly. If having done that, there's still a problem, then that child should be examined by a doctor or pediatrician, because there are certain conditions, one called Hirschsprung's disease, which can cause constipation and which may need surgical intervention. So it's something that if that doesn't work, then you need to have it assessed to see if there's something more significant that may be happening.
Okay. We have another call lined up. Good morning to Sophia.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning.
Go ahead with your question.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Okay, I'm not pregnant because I had pregnancy test, but I'm having this white milky stuff coming out my breast. What's that?
Right, that is actually milk coming from what you have is a nipple discharge, and usually it happens when the prolactin level is high. Prolactin is a hormone that is released by the pituitary gland in the brain, and it is stimulated by the sucking reflex, which if you were pregnant and breastfeeding, the sucking reflex when the nipple is stimulated can cause letdown of prolactin, causing the secretion of milk. One thing you should do is do not squeeze that nipple to check to see if there is milk, because that makes it more secreted. So don't check it all the time. But what we need to do is check and see if the prolactin level is high, because sometimes if you have a pituitary tumor or some abnormality or enlargement of the pituitary gland, that can cause increased secretion of the prolactin. It's usually associated with lack of periods or amenorrhea, a period of time where you have no periods. So sometimes that should be checked to make sure that is all it is.
So go see the doctor.
See the doctor, get checked, and don't squeeze those nipples.
She must be scared though.
Yeah, you would be concerned if something like that is happening.
Somebody's pouring out when it shouldn't.
I think that's the point, when it shouldn't.
Sonia's holding on. Good morning, Sonia.
Morning, Sonia.
Hi, go ahead with your question.
Dr. Lord, I find that when I'm walking, especially going up a hill, I can actually hear my knees giving a noise, like a kind of cracking noise.
Yes.
Can you tell me why is that?
Yeah, that is due to wear and tear of the cartilage, which is the lining in between the joint spaces, and that is all it probably is. It's due to wear and tear because of the excessive walking for long periods of time over the years.
Solution, doctor, because it's sounding like me. Solution.
No, exercising, doing some weight resistant exercising, push-up, press-ups, leg exercises, leg extensions, and so on, to build up the muscles around the knee will help. And glucosamine is thought by some to help to regenerate the cartilage.
You don't support
exercise.
Yeah.
They are coming in thick and fast this morning. Margaret's on the line. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning, all.
Morning. Welcome.
Dr. Lord?
Yes?
Could you tell me what is gout and what causes it?
Gout is a type of arthritis where you get an increase in the level of uric acid. Uric acid is a level that is a substance that is broken down from increased protein use. Sometimes it can be caused from a number of different things. Eating a lot of protein, they say it's usually rich people's disease. It used to be said that, but you see it in any persons. But it classically occurs in the big toe. Why the big toe? I can't tell you, but it can occur in any joint, and these crystals develop and give you arthritis.
It's a very painful experience.
It's very painful, very, very painful. If you get a painful joint without any trauma, gout is a possibility. It can be treated with medication and cut down your alcohol. Sardines is one of the things that is high, that can cause it, and the high protein diet reduce that.
Reduce your protein diet, reduce the use of sardines,
alcohol,
and that should fix it?
That should help it, and then there's medication
if it
that we take to reduce that uric acid level.
Okay. We have someone else on the phone. Natalie, you're there. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm trying to find out exactly what E. coli is and what symptoms are.
And what the symptoms
are. E. coli, Escherichia coli, is an organism that's usually found in the bowel. It's a normal organism, gut organism, but sometimes when there's an overgrowth of this, it can cause diarrhea or gastrointestinal disorders. Also, if the E. coli gets in the urinary tract, then that causes cystitis, and one of the most common causes is cystitis, or infection of the urinary bladder. You see it in women commonly, or sometimes in children who wipe in the wrong directions. So sometimes because of the moisture in the genital area, you can get germs coming from the buttocks area going into the urinary tract, and especially in the female, because the urinary tract is the urethra is very short in the female, and you can get this problem.
Right. So we're open to your questions. Those are the numbers on screen, 228-5562 or 63. But Doc, you came to tell us as well about eating healthy on the move, and you started that process.
Yes, Katrina.
We have established that you need to plan ahead, which is good advice. Can you suggest any foods that are good on the move foods? In other words, I wouldn't expect to roll up to a meeting in my car eating a Julie mango, as lovely as mangoes are.
Yes.
You know, can you recommend the foods that are healthy but that travel well?
English apple, well, the bananas might not travel well, but banana is also a good fruit that can be used. And there are several cherries. Bajan cherry is very good with vitamin C. So those type of fruits are quite available and easy to move with, and not too messy as
A box of raisins are good too.
Oh yes, raisins are good.
Are they filling? Are they filling? Because at the end of it, we just want to be full.
Well,
and healthy,
and
not sluggish.
We just want to be full. We start there.
I love prawns.
Yeah, but
they now
it depends
come in
on your mind telling you what is full. If you're constantly eating a big meal to get full, then that is so. But by reducing the meals and eating small amounts more regularly, then it's likely that you will feel satisfied.
All right.
They're filling, Pearson.
So you'll say, I'll take your word for it. Fran is on the phone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Fran.
Good morning. I'm just calling to find out what causes feet swelling.
What causes, did you hear her, Doc?
Something swell?
What is it, Fran? Say it again.
Feet swelling.
Foot swelling.
Okay. Yeah, most people, when their feet start to swell, the first thing they think about bad kidneys. But usually it is used edema or just fluids accumulating due to gravity done by the
standing up a lot.
Yeah. Yes. So most people who stand up a lot will have some type of swelling at the end of the day naturally. When you go to bed, then that occurs. However, commonly in Barbados, if you're obese or if you have varicose veins, that can also cause swelling of the feet. Of course, if you have heart failure or kidney failure, you can have swelling of the feet as well, or some other injury if it's one foot. And I'm talking about the ankle, the lower leg. If it is one, then usually due to injury or some other local problem there.
Solutions: soaking some Epsom salt water.
Elevate.
Yeah, that's the old people's remedy.
Keep elevated. Also use proper footwear and stockings if necessary. The elastic stockings would help.
When you say proper footwear, are you talking at least with like a
short
reddish
heel.
low heel?
Yeah, low heel.
You know,
Nothing
something with cushion.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
All right. Sergeant Siebert is ready for a traffic report. We'll come back with more of our doctor on the line. Remember, our calls are on 228-5562, 228-5563. Time for traffic. And a very good morning to you, Sergeant Siebert Johnson.
Good morning to you. How are you doing this morning?
I do well. How do you do?
I am doing fairly good, I believe.
Good.
Good morning to your guest. Hope he's doing fine this morning. Good morning to all of our viewers and our listeners. We're pleased to report again this morning no collisions on our streets, but we're receiving some complaints of persons still driving around with little ones standing between the front seats of their vehicles. Remember, the law requires that persons, these little ones, should be seated and fitted with seat belts at all times. And we are still receiving complaints too of persons being driven around in these open back trucks. We had a report where a number of school children were seen yesterday morning in the back of a truck and the driver was speeding along the area of Lower Camarog. Remember, the seatbelt laws are still in effect. Anytime you are thinking of transporting persons in the rear of your vehicle, permission should be sought from the Ministry of Transport and Works. That law still stands, so please remember that. Moderate flows on all of our roads, no build-ups reported this yet, so until the next update, Pearson, is all yours.
And come back with more of our doctor on the line and your calls after this.
Life. Some people see it as one big obstacle course. I see it as an adventure, bigger than a game. What do you see?
Surgical General has a wealth of insurance solutions to help you protect your dreams, including your home, car, cargo, and business. Dreaming can be like a sneak peek to the future when you have the right financial partner. Surgical General, wise financial thinking for life.
I see myself winning.
The 41-member Barbados Crift team recently returned home after a highly successful outing at the 40th Annual Crift Games in Jamaica. Terrell Ford, who won silver in the boys' under-20 110-meter hurdles, also had the honor of captaining the boys' team.
Jamaica, it was a good thing for me. My last Crifter, it was more or less a comeback year for me because the last couple of years I've been injured and not doing too well. So this year to finally be able to get back in the season and be able to do well, compete well, and get in Crifter was a good experience for me. My performance at Crifter, personal best, felt good about it. So it was competing every weekend and getting faster weekend. So for me to go to Crifter and run a personal best, I was satisfied with that.
The government and people of Barbados salute silver medalist Terrell Ford.
Gonna take a ride across the moon, you and me.
Just because I just keep me cool, me son and all taking me for a fool. Guys, so
The competition is over. The winner announced. So all the action in the 2011 Richard Stout Over 21 finals this Friday and Saturday at 10 p.m. each night on CBC TV8.
Ten minutes now to 7 o'clock. Our doctor is on the line, 228-5562, 228-5563. Dr. Adrian Lord is here with us. We did start our discussion on eating healthily, easily, and we're also taking your calls on 228-5562 and 63. Someone's on the line?
I think so.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to the panel.
Morning.
I have a question for Dr. Lord, sir. Dr. Lord, my daughter is 9 years old. I took her to the doctor yesterday. She was quite pain in the shoulders and the knee. And they said that it is childhood pain. Can you please explain, sir, what does that mean?
She's having what in the shoulders?
Pain in the shoulders.
Pain in the shoulders and crying for a lot of pain in the knee. So
knees?
Yes, sir. I took her to the doctor.
Okay.
And they call it, you said they call
childhood
it
pain or probably growing pains. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you please explain what's that, please?
Yeah, sometimes when the child is in the growing phase and she's at 9 now where she's becoming an adolescent, so some of the joints are, her body's getting bigger and some of the joints have not accommodated well to her frame and therefore it can cause some pain until things settle down. So obviously that doctor would have examined her, taken a proper history and come to that diagnosis that is just what we call growing pains. It's just an expansion or stretching of the ligaments and the joints and the bones as you get older.
How long does that last, doctor?
Well, you know,
that's just a couple months?
Yeah, it could be months or it could be years because, you know, she could go until the 11th in this sudden growth spurt or maybe after, depends on when her menstrual cycle starts and that kind of tells you.
So mommy and daughter are very concerned about this period of pain. What can they do to resolve that pain?
Anything.
Yeah, just take some painkillers, you know, the over-the-counter paracetamol, aspirin, or any other brands, just to treat it symptomatically.
So the good news is that it will go away.
It will go away. And if mommy remembers, she may have gone through it.
So it's
30 years ago.
I don't remember going through a birth spurt
I
that
remember
caused
having
pain.
to go to the doctor because my chest was hurting and the doctor said she doesn't have a heart problem.
All right, we got the
She's just
idea.
got growing pains.
We got the idea. Don't tell us the
growing, her chest is growing.
No more.
Oh, we have another caller holding. Good morning.
Hi, good morning all.
Morning, welcome. What's your question?
I have two questions actually. The first one being, I am addicted to wearing heels everywhere I go. Can heels, wearing heel shoes, affect your kidney? I often hear this. And the second one is I am also addicted to eating ice on a daily basis. Morning, noon, night, all during the day I want ice. All the time. Yeah.
Wow.
No. What decade are you in? 20s, 30s, 40s? You're in your 40s?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Just going with the thing with the ice thing, eating ice seems to be a problem. No, it's not a problem. It's not a medical problem. So eat as much ice as you want. It's just taking liquids. But if you should find out if you're excessively thirsty and if that is causing you to eat ice. But other than that, the habit is not a bad thing, and so eat it.
And now the heels and the kidneys.
Yeah, what was she saying?
She hears that it affects your kidneys, but she wears them every day. What is the harm in that?
No. There's no harm in wearing heels, or no harm. Wearing high heels would not affect your kidneys at all. It might affect your lower back, where the kidneys are located. So maybe that is where you got the connection from, but it would not affect your kidneys in any way.
What are heel spurs?
Heel spurs are growth from bones within, especially in the foot, where from wear and tear and degeneration of the bones, you get a little outpoaching of the bone that can cause some pain when it put pressures on the ligaments and other structures down there.
Okay. We have another caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead with your question.
Hi, good morning, ma'am.
You can't listen to your television while you talk with us. You will become confused. Please ask the question, and then you can go listen.
Hi, good morning, ma'am. I'm calling about keloids.
Yes.
What causes keloids, sir?
Keloids are excessive growth of scars in the skin. It is where the body overreacts to a scar. In other words, you may get a cut, and the healing process, rather than stopping at what should be normal, you get an overgrowth of that. And it can be unsightly, it can cause pain and burning. And it can be treated. If you are expecting surgery, then the doctor can inject a steroid to prevent it from occurring. If it does occur, you can also have injections to reduce that growth as well. So it can be treated, either prevented or treated if it is there by reducing the scar, or the scar can be removed and then drugs injected to prevent it from recurring.
Is it hereditary?
It may be hereditary. Getting scared?
No, I don't have that problem. I don't have that problem.
Okay, we'd like to welcome Caroline to the program. Good morning. You're live on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Wondering, good morning to everybody. Like if you sit down for long periods of time and you get up and you have like these pains and needles in your feet all the time, is something wrong?
Not necessarily, but it maybe you're putting pressure on a nerve, the sciatic nerve, or you may be obstructing blood supply to a particular area, especially if you sit with your feet lapped in a particular way. That can sometimes cause it to occur. But you'll find that once you get up and move around, it goes away. So it should not be a problem at all.
All right. Onika, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I would like to ask the doctor a question.
Go ahead, please. You're alive.
I have been having problems with my medical sites from the time I turned a young lady. However, for the past 6 months, going on to 8 months, I haven't seen a period. Previously, they put me on the birth control pill, and I find I tend to gain weight when I use it. Is there anything that I can use that could, something that would prevent me gaining weight that would assist in this problem? Or do you think there can be something other than secondary medical?
Secondary amenorrhea. It's what the medical term. Where amenorrhea is lack of a period. And one of the most common causes of secondary amenorrhea is pregnancy, of course. But of course, I'm sure that has been ruled out. What she has is a hormonal problem where her ovaries are not secreting the estrogen as often as it should. If she's not desirous of becoming pregnant, it's not really a problem. But she should be evaluated to make sure that she doesn't have polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is a condition that can cause that to occur. But other than that, there are various hormones outside of the pill that can be used to regulate her periods if she wants to have a period every month. But you don't have to have a period every month.
You don't?
If it only comes when there's something there to bleed. If there's no endometrium to shed.
Is that healthy?
Yeah, it is not unhealthy.
It's not
There's
unhealthy?
nothing in there you get a menstrual shedding.
You realize what you're saying to women the world
yes.
over?
I mean, look at the television. It is not unhealthy not to have a period every month. There's nothing in there to pass out. To be shed.
Does that not suggest some sort of deficiency?
Yeah.
If my womb has not been preparing for the presence of a fetus, have I not been deficient in some way?
Not necessarily.
So nothing to worry about?
Nothing to worry about.
Okay, I have a quick question before we wrap up, Doc.
What does it mean for childbearing? Sorry.
Yeah, it would
He's not
affect
done
childbearing.
yet.
You can, if you find that there's a period of time you're going without a period, then the potential is that you will not be able to conceive.
It might be difficult.
Okay.
But other than that, there's no problem.
My question is over.
I can go ahead now? Okay. But quickly, doctor, you started out focusing on healthy eating. What is the right way to use protein shakes or meal replacement shakes in your program?
As a substitute after exercise to replace some of the muscles and so on that you may be broken down during exercise.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, Doc. As usual, you've shed some light on the many burning issues, both for our callers and for us around the table. We're talking about how to be healthy and sustain it on a schedule. We're going to talk next time, hopefully, about how to stay healthy during the busy crop over period.
Sure.
It's time now for our Nice Tip.
In our Nice Tip today, we ask you to be enthusiastic and knowledgeable about your company, your work, and your job. We talked about that this morning. Be enthusiastic and knowledgeable about your company, your work, and your job. In other words, have an interest in what you do. If you don't have an interest in what you do, then you will not be enthusiastic, nor will you find yourself seeking knowledge about the company, the work, or your job. So here's hoping that that's a nice tip for you today as you prepare to head into somebody's place of employment.
Coming up on 11 minutes after 10, it's the kind of time we call rush hour, and my turn to say morning to Sergeant Siebert Johnson. How's it looking out there, Sarge?
11 minutes after 10?
7. Oh my goodness.
I'm wondering.
Speeding the morning forward. 11 minutes after 7.
I wonder why.
Perhaps it's just the desire to get through the program.
We still have some unfinished business. Don't forget that, please.
I have not. I've shared my thoughts on it with Pearson Offset, and I will try to speak to you later on today.
No problem. That's only a joke. Good morning to you. Good morning to all of our viewers and our listeners. Conditions on our roads are said to be building already. We have a steady heavy movement going on Map Hill, going towards the end of the JTC Ramsey roundabout where there's a build-up now. On the of Government Hill, conditions were moderate city-bound. Also heavy and building along Highway 4 going on to Norman roundabout, going on to Mallory Hill where it was steady. Hull turning Watford Bottom, conditions are also steady already. We have steady traffic reported along the area of Royal Map Highway. Steady flows and building along Jackson going towards Green Hill. Along the area of Highway 1, inbound flows were moderate. And a steady movement also reported along the area of Spring Garden Highway. Highway 7 Maxwell Coast, conditions are building. Steady traffic going on Bay Street. Moderate flows on Fords Road. And on Highway 6 already building going on to Sergeant Village, heading on Upper Culmrock and Bishop's Court Hill. The ABC Highway, we have moderate flows, nothing to worry of. We are asking persons to keep it safe. Remember, look out for the pedestrian. We must stress this. And pedestrians, once again, I want to remind you, where there's the green light for the motorists, you should remain stationary until your walk light appears. With that, on to the next update. It's all yours.
Sergeant Siebert Johnson, we'll check in with you once again during the program, but for now we're going to find out why Ryan Brathwaite had a bit of a rough day. Pearson Bowen's got the details in our sports package.
Yep, it was indeed a rough day for him yesterday in the 110 meters hurdles at the 50th Golden Spike meet in Ostrava. The reigning world champion running out of lane number 3 trailed for most of the race before he fell at the last hurdle and didn't finish.
And Robles gets a very, very good start, but so too does Trammell. So it's Trammell in 4, Robles in 6. Robles now slightly in the lead. Robles racing very crisply over the barriers. He's home and away. A very good result from Robles. Robles was always in front there. Perhaps his technique wasn't as good over the final 3 hurdles. He did have to work quite hard. You can't help but feel sorry for Jeff Porter. And there we see over the final hurdle, Ryan Brathwaite as well, clipping the hurdle and falling to the track. Brathwaite hasn't been in the same sort of form last year and at the start of this year that he showed in 2009 when he took the gold medal at the World Championships in Berlin.
Meanwhile, world record holder Usain Bolt equaled his season best time in the men's 100 meters, while fellow Jamaican Veronica Campbell-Brown clocked a world-leading 10.76 in the women's sprint. Barbados' successful Carifta swimmers and track and field athletes will be toasted on June the 4th at Alaro Court. That announcement came from Minister of Sports Stephen Lashley yesterday during a media briefing at Parliament.
It is proposed that the athletes will be shuttled from the Barbados Olympic Association Wildy office in St. Michael to the venue at Alaro Court, where they will be greeted by the rhythmic songs of a tuck band and warmly welcomed by the colorful and friendly stilt walkers. So we're going to have a very colorful reception for our athletes, which is being coordinated in association with the National Culture Foundation. A selected group of cheerleaders will form a guard of honor using their pom-poms as the athletes make their way down the steps onto the grounds of Alaro Court. And during the reception, we anticipate that we'll have addresses by myself and the Honorable Prime Minister.
Well, the minister reminded the media that last year a function was held for the athletes at Hilton, and he believes that this recognition has had a positive impact.
When we had the reception at the Hilton, I thought in my interaction with the athletes, they were very pleased that there was recognition. And you know that when, you're correct, when your performance is recognized, I think people feel more welcome, they feel more appreciated, and therefore I believe it impacts on their performance. I actually have a theory that, particularly with young people, once you support them and you show that you're supporting them, I believe that they go the extra mile.
Well, that's it for sports. Cassandra?
Yes, Pearson. Great stuff, and of course you will get all the follow-ups and developing stories in sports during our news package this evening. And before we continue to our next segment, I want to extend belated birthday greetings to one of our own. And you know, I would have loved to do this last Friday, but I was not in. So we're making good because Pearson said to me, let's save it for tomorrow, yesterday. So this one is belated birthday wishes to Ashley Brathwaite. She celebrated her birthday on the 27th. This is a happy birthday greeting for you, Ashley, over in our MCTV department. Celebrated her 21st birthday on Saturday, and that's from Lorna and Nadia. Hopefully you had a good day. I'm sure they did their part to make sure. And another greeting we must extend, a birthday greeting is to Edna Walcott. She is age 103. She's over at Bayview Avenue in Bayville, St. Michael. Greetings from your son Keith, your granddaughter Sharon, and your great-grandson Joe Ash. So that's a wonderful age, wonderful number. Not many of us will be blessed with that, but hey, beautiful stuff indeed.
I just have one more birthday greeting, Cassandra. It's to Natasha King, a good friend and hardworking lady as always. Her daughter Kaylin just sat the 11 plus, and she's one of those ladies who seems to be ageless and timeless, still looking fabulous. So happy birthday to Natasha. I hope that you got today off. I suspect you don't, but in the event that you do, I hope you do something fun to celebrate your life. It's that kind of time where we continue our program this morning. We have two guests, and I'm going to let Pearson give us an idea as to who they are, what they're talking about. It's sure to be quite exciting.
All right, we're joined by Pastor Victor Roach, the president of NCPAD, and Wallace Cyrus, who is the education officer with NCPAD. Good morning to both of you gentlemen.
Good morning.
I suspect we're going to be talking about World No Tobacco Day yesterday and continuing your conscious efforts towards raising awareness about the effects of tobacco really and its effects on our bodies.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right or wrong?
Well, both.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to come to support what is being done in tobacco control. But this morning we wanted to spend some time looking at drugs in the workplace. We have mentioned it occasionally, but I think we need to treat it in a full way. We could talk about the impacts and the costs, the signs, the risk factors, the stages, the issues, avoiding the issue of drugs, well, not the issue, but avoiding drug abuse in the workplace, and also what we would do to help persons who have those problems. And I suspect if we start today, we will continue. But Wallace was out and about. How was it for you yesterday, Wallace?
Well, it's quite interesting. One of the things which we've been doing on a consistent basis is going across the island and talking to the children in the primary school, trying to raise the awareness of what can happen if you go down that road of being involved with drugs. And let me say it here, we need to understand, if nothing else, this one thing. It is never too early to start to inform our children about the dangers involved with being associated with drugs. Those persons who make their living out of enticing people, young and old alike, into drug activity, they like to see you from the cradle to the grave. And it isn't true from the cradle to the grave, because if you get involved with drugs, there's three things that are going to happen to you. One, you'll probably see me in a mental institution, or in a prison, or when you die. Because those three things will happen to you either one at a time, or you'll take two of them, or all three of them.
There's some who are going to say to you point blank, Mr. Sarah, you're kidding me. Because there are some people who do use illegal substances and function.
Well, Sir Winston Churchill smoked, and he lived to a ripe old age. And there are many people who do lots of things. People who fall out of the sky or the planes and live, and they didn't have a parachute. But I am sure no one listening to us today would ever think of that as a healthy activity. You see, there are exceptions to every rule. And the fact that you become one of the exceptions doesn't mean that it's something that you should look at. Statistically, if you're into drugs, your life expectancy is somewhere like 10 to 20 years. If you happen to become addicted to drugs, it dramatically falls off 5 to 10 years. There are no old drug addicts. There are no old drug dealers. Because if you don't die from an overdose, which is the most likely outcome, you usually die violently. Because if you don't pay your druggie, he will kill you. So I mean, you know.
You've made the point.
What I want to ask you about, based on your research, is, you know, we joke a lot on the program about how sometimes children are better change agents than the adults when it comes to egging their parents on. What have your findings been? Not just in terms of their understanding, but their influencing of the adults in their lives.
It is quite true. It's quite true. If you want to make a change in the community in any way, get hold of the children. Why do you think, and again, I have to go back to it, pedophiles and drug pushers, they specialize in children, and they're the greatest psychologists we know in society today, because they understand it. You send your child to school, and the teacher tells your child whatever it is, and he comes home and changes mommy and daddy, no matter what their education level is. They get changed because Johnny comes home and he says, but we do it this way in school. My teacher says this. If you want to change the church, everywhere, if you aim your program at the children, you will change the adults. And people don't seem to understand it. And it's one of the things about it is that, for instance, for children are very enthusiastic, and who can really resist the charm and smile of a child, the innocence of children? And I love them. And I think something that we don't understand is that the importance of children and the role they play. So when we look at drugs, and this morning we want to focus on drugs in the workplace. The workplace is a very important place because outside of sleep, it's the next major time consumer, the workplace. And so many things happen. Now, when you talk about drugs in the workplace, a lot of people think immediately of things like, you know, he's going to come work, space out on cocaine, heroin. Not at all. The top of the list really is alcohol. Alcohol consumes more of our resources than anything else. In fact, what alcohol does to the society as a drug is not even close. When you look at, if you take the group then of all the other drugs involved, they come nowhere, not even 50% of what alcohol does. A study was done in the United States of America some years ago looking at alcohol and its influence, its impact. And one of the things that people were saying in order to keep alcohol in the society is, well, look, employment, governments tax alcohol like crazy. If you buy a bottle of alcohol for $1, chances are maybe only 10 cents actually ends up as being part of the cost of the alcohol. The other 90 cents usually taxes. But when they did the study, they showed that while alcohol back then contributed something like 10 point something billion to the community, the actual cost in what it cost the society for all the things it does exceeded $10.5 trillion. You see?
So and that's productivity loss.
Mostly so, mostly so. But, you know, if you look, for instance, again, talking the same alcohol, an interesting fact in alcohol is this, and that is, again, we labor under these myths. There's the myth, and it's still in today, after all the research we've done, all we've seen, that alcohol is an upper. It is the biggest joke ever told to humankind. I got into trouble with the medical profession back in the 70s and 80s because you can't, as a practicing physician, knowing what we know about alcohol, tell anybody that anyone should ever consume alcohol in any amount at any time because of its danger. It is the most dangerous substance known to mankind.
So what is your message right now? Because this is very much a part of a culture. It's not even just Barbados, though they will tell you if you find a church, you'll also find a rum shop.
Of course.
But it's something that's all over the world. People see this as a way it's how they have
it's a means of socializing.
It's how they socialize.
It's a means of socializing.
So what is your message in terms of, because the message of responsibility has been the one that we've been hearing more?
Well, you see, if we could drink responsibly, I would be the first to advocate it. Unfortunately, we cannot. You see, one of the reasons why we can't drink responsibly and have it as a social entity is simply because alcohol does some very dangerous, does some terrible things. Number one, everything you consume, including a glass of water, has to go through the digestive system. You drink it, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. Alcohol does not. Within seconds of consuming alcohol, get into your mouth, and it's into the bloodstream, because once it hits the stomach, it then deviates straight into the bloodstream.
Okay.
So that's what makes it so dangerous. And then it's availability.
Our time is pretty much up.
Of
What is your
course.
closing message? Closing.
Well, I want to go back to what Miss Marshall raised.
We don't have much time.
And to say that the involving children is also a determinant in their ability to stay away from the drugs when they become adults. So it's a very important statistic.
We really wanted to look at workplace and how the drugs in the workplace affects productivity, the cost of business. Clearly.
Another visit. You have to come back.
Yeah.
Ongoing.
All right, well,
Work in
we're going to
progress.
take a very short break, and yes, we have more to share with you on Morning Barbados, so do stay with us.
Morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Community Files.
Aspiring entrepreneurs ages 13 to 17 are invited to Camp Enterprise 2011, scheduled for Queen's College from June 27th to July 29th from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. Register for free from May 30th until June 17th. Collect your registration forms at the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, Constitution Road, St. Michael, or download at www.yes.gov.bb. For further information, call 430-2802.
Wednesday. Blake! I'm pregnant. What the hell? What's up, champ? See, you got to cover ESPN. Congrats, man. Did he just grunt me? See, that's some old racist mess. My mailman used to do that, and I checked him, too.
The Game. Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. on CBC TV8.
Agent! Before we send you out in the world, we must make sure that your mission is intact. Yes, ma'am! Agent 1, what is a touch? Physical contact, ma'am. Agent 2, what is a good touch? Touches that make you feel alright, ma'am. Such as? A high five, a handshake, even a kiss, ma'am. Good. Now, Agent 3, what is a bad touch? Touches that make you feel not so good, ma'am. Like a slap, a kick, a pinch. And most important, if someone touches your private part. And what do we do when someone gives us a bad touch? We tell a trusted adult, ma'am, for help, ma'am. Tell them, don't do that, ma'am. Agent, I see that you understand. Now it's your mission to spread this information. Just remember that good touches are okay, and bad touches are not okay. So, Agent, go spread the word. Yes, ma'am.
Morning
Look at me. We're on Morning Barbados, and we have now with us Prince Bazawule, that's the gentleman, Deirdre Brathwaite, that's the girl, and they're with Pixel New Media. We are looking now at the Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation as we continue to move business towards making Barbados the #1 and
entrepreneurship
thank
hub
you for
by
2020. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, but you've taken on New Media
Yes.
as we move towards making Barbados the entrepreneurial hub by 2020. How important is that really as we go forward?
Well, we're in an age where everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on Twitter. You know, YouTube is being viewed by millions of people. Millions of videos are being uploaded every day. And so we recognize that, you know, persons want to be more social. And that's a way to reach our target market, because we're trying to reach loads of people. You know, we're trying to make sure that we propagate the message and that the message gets out there. So it's very, very important that we use these new tools.
Communicating on the several platforms that exist.
Yes, so
and
that
there are
you can
others that are
reach.
going to be developing.
Of course, there are lots of platforms. I mean, right now Facebook is the biggest. It's 600 million active users as of January 2011. But there are loads of other platforms, and you have to reach, you know, each person where they are, because everybody, even though it's 600 million, everybody isn't on Facebook or everybody isn't on Twitter. You know, so you have to make sure that your message reaches your community wherever they are.
Okay, you are young entrepreneurs,
Yes.
part of the BEF. They are making sure that everybody has as much information to move forward with the times and the technology. How do you see your role in making this happen as you move to 2020?
Well, I can say that, you know, Pixel, that's one of our core competencies, social media. So we've offered our services to the BEF to help them, you know, with their strategy and to get that message across in the best way possible. Because we find sometimes, you know, sometimes we jump head in. There's no plan, there's no strategy. So it's very important that we have those, you know, in place to make sure that we can propagate the message properly.
Prince, I want to ask you about how you get heard above the cacophony. We just finished talking to our software specialist about the fact that Google's uploads are now 100% more than they were last year at this time.
Okay.
There's an enormous online presence.
Right.
Pixel's website, it's I hope we can pull it up in production, but it's one of those, it doesn't fit any one mold.
No.
How do you get heard above the noise and seen among the clutter?
We make an effort to have very outstanding projects, very outstanding websites. So we know, yes, like you said, there's a lot of sites out there. There's a lot of people trying to be seen on the internet. So we tap into our clients, including the BEF's unique strengths, and try to showcase that on the internet in a creative way. So like you said, it won't look like anything else out there. So hopefully, if a visitor came on your website, they actually got drugged in and they stayed and hopefully saw your message through your website. So we ensure to make sure they are outstanding.
Deirdre, you make a very bold announcement on your website. If your budget is less than 40,000 Barbados dollars, you'll need a bigger agency. Sorry. What's the thinking behind that statement?
The thinking is that we're a boutique agency. We're here to work one-on-one with you. And you know, when people come with bigger budgets, they tend to kind of want to control. There's a lot, you know, there's a lot more. So we like to be very creative. We think outside the box, and that's what we do best.
How important is that? Sorry, Pearson, I'm curious. I mean, for those watching thinking, wow, I'd like to do something like that, how important is knowing what your core market is to an entrepreneurial business like yours?
It's very important. We've been told many times, you know, you need to be doing this or you need to be working with smaller companies, but you have to know where your market is or not you get lost. You know, you have to have your niche. It's very important to have your niche, to know who you're servicing, to know, you know, the clients that you want to work with. Or not, you'll be trying to be all things to all people, and it never works out. It never works out for you, you know, properly.
We're talking about making Barbados the entrepreneurial hub by 2020. You're talking about people who are not thinking outside of the box, who are still very much boxed. When we want to move forward, what advice would you want to give to anybody operating any kind of business as we try to make this dream a reality?
Right, I do have one advice. Yes, you might have a lot more. I do have one. Do not be scared to embrace technology. right? Because technology is key, because you compare the companies here and services to the competition overseas, and the difference usually is the fact that the companies overseas have embraced technology, and they actually infuse it in their day-to-day running, and that is what I think companies like ourselves and the BEF are trying to push to people. Embrace it, integrate it in your modus operandi, and hopefully you would be a lot more productive.
Yeah.
Deidre?
I totally agree, and I think social media is something that helps you get your company out there. You know, earlier we were talking about what rises you above the clutter and all the backlinks. I mean, Google loves social media, loves Facebook. It'll help push your brand in the search engines. So it's very important that we all embrace social media and use it. And I mean, that's what the BF is doing. And I'd like everybody to come out, check us on Facebook, Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation. We're also on Twitter at Bds June. And if you like to watch videos, YouTube as well, Bds June.
But what I'm also hearing you to say, tell me if I've got it wrong, is that for those who are seeking to employ or to enter their own, to set up their own business, invite some young people in there, because you guys think differently.
Mindset. Yeah,
we think you're going to get that at 50? A different mindset?
Well, I mean, we've met some amazing people. Keith Miller is one of the persons, good morning, Keith, who I think is pretty amazing. And Keith is on Twitter, and I mean, it's just, you know, it's amazing that he embraces. So open your mind to the expansion, open your minds to what's available, the new media that exists, and be prepared to get in there and hustle, like almost everyone else, to be above.
That's the only thing that carve your niche, think outside the box. You offer web blog design services. That was a service that didn't even exist a few years ago. We never have enough time when our friends from the Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation visit us, but we want to say thank you to Prince Bazawule and to David Brathwaite of Pixeled New Media Inc. Check them out on Facebook, and of course check out the Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation. 11-11-11 on. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Community Files. Everyone is invited to attend a lecture entitled Redefining the Probation Department to Meet the Needs of the 21st Century at 7 p.m. on Thursday, June 9th at the Frank Collymore Hall. Please make a special effort to attend.
Regional HIV Testing Day is Friday, June 24th.
I'm getting tested so I know my status.
I'm doing it because I want to be sure.
We're doing it
for each other.
It's about protecting yourself and those you care about. When you get tested, you're taking control of your life.
Getting a test is just a smart thing to do.
The Caribbean Broadcast Media Partnership on HIV/AIDS in association with Scotiabank and local ministries and departments of health will be opening these testing centers so that you can get tested and know your status. There's no fear, no shame. It's easy and it's free. Get tested on June 24th, Regional Testing Day, and live up.
Wednesday. He is arguably the finest left-arm fast bowler of all time. He's a record-breaking batsman and was captain of his country. Arrogant, brilliant, and often controversial, Wasim Akram is one of ESPN's legends of cricket.
The History of Cricket Legends, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on CBC TV8.
All Angles returns to CBC TV8.
Trinidad, which is the base of the CCJ, the headquarters of the CCJ, hasn't, as I mentioned, is one of the countries that hasn't signed on.
This week's guest, Sir Dennis Byron, CCJ President-Designate.
The Caribbean Court of Justice is extremely important for the Caribbean region.
This Friday at 8:02 p.m.
One does not write off a court because everybody was not signed on in the first 6 years.
"22 minutes now to 8 o'clock. The Reverend Charles Morris is in with us as we preach it this morning. And Reverend Morris, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good. We want to look today at marriage and the redefinition of marriage. But what is marriage?
Well, many of the texts will tell you that marriage is
union between a man and a woman and they live under the same roof and that kind of thing. I think that definition to me is a bit outdated. I think it was in 1981 when the Barbados government had a new law in terms of family law in which they recognized even common law unions and that kind of thing. I think that was progressive. Right now, I believe in the Caribbean, as in many other things, the church now has to look at a new theology on these things. We've had revisionist sociologists, we've had revisionist historians in almost every discipline. I think now we need to have some revisionist theologians who will look at certain institutions in their cultural context. And to me, marriage is one of those.
Are you talking, sorry Cassandra, are you talking about rewriting the order of service for a marriage
No,
ceremony
I'm not talking
as we know it?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a theology of it, our understanding of what marriage is in the Caribbean. I've been saying this for some time. We have to understand that. Look, when we look at marriages as they develop over the years, you know, once upon a time there were certain people who could not get married. And marriage was reserved for people in the upper echelons of society. It was used for the protection of the dynasties, to ensure that not everybody becomes a king or queen. Those who went to war, the soldiers who went to war, when they came back, persons, especially females, saw this as, especially when they came back with their stories, they saw this as an opportunity. This is my man that did all these valorous deeds at war. So I want to marry him. Okay? And as the church, the church believes, maybe quite rightly so, that there should be the union of one man and one woman. There are some persons who say that to make a covenant between God and the human beings cannot make a covenant. They can only affirm a covenant. They can only affirm it. The covenant is already there, so you can only affirm it. My contention is that we have to view these things in a Caribbean context now.
So what are the things, having said that, and if you, as you say, we view it from within a Caribbean context, what are the things that you believe should be adjusted? One, that
you have to give greater credence to things like common law unions, and that is my peeve. These are very stable relationships. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, when does marriage begin? Now, some people say that it begins when you go...
When we move in?
Well, some people say when you go to the church and you get the ring, the priest blesses the ring, you sign the legal certificate. Right. I do not believe that... In fact, they go to the Bible as well and say that this person took this person as their wife. Now, in the Bible, it does not necessarily mean that that person was married. It means that these two people went and had a sexual relationship.
We're going to come back to that. We're going to find out what Desiree thinks about the concept of marriage. Good morning, Desiree. Welcome to the program. You're on the air.
Good morning. Yes, I was asking, I think you just answered my question, actually. Where does marriage begin? Because when the Bible says that Solomon had 500 wives, my interpretation of that is that he had 500 virgins, and not necessarily that he took these 500 women and said, well, I take you for my wife. What does the Reverend have to say about this?
Okay, let me explain the whole thing about Solomon and the principles of war. In those days, in fact, let me say that I do not believe that Solomon had these 500 wives. You have to see it in the context of the culture of that day and the principles of war. Now, if you go to a country in those days and you defeat them, there are certain persons you have to take into consideration. The children and the women. Because in those days, men were the ones who went to war. Only men went to war. And so you had a responsibility. The victorious king had a responsibility towards these children and women. So what he would do, he would bring them into his harem. I don't believe that Solomon had all these wives. I mean, somebody got probably one man, 500, Lord.
Okay. My question is, while we wait to see if we're going to receive any further calls, you're welcome to, of course. 228-5562 or 228-5563 are the numbers you can reach us at. We're talking about revisiting the theological concept of marriage. I suppose the next step to this discussion is it necessary at all? it is recognized, the union is recognized in law without there being a marriage ceremony, if certain things de facto are in place. Do we still need it?
That is going to be the bone of contention.
So now, contend.
I don't think so. Look, now we're going to talk about law and sin. The church sees this, maybe, well, I don't know, some churches see it as a sin, living together. But let me tell you something. There was, don't forget the concept of this country, the whole thing about live with. Don't forget that. That has been, it has contributed to the development of Barbados society, no matter what we may think.
Do you think that the concept of marriage as it stands and as we recognize it now ignores the, as you call it, cultural contribution the live with has made?
As you say, and even in terms of common law unions, I mean the law, as I said, the law has recognized it. But what do we do? What do we say to people who are living in a common law relationship, or even a visiting relationship, but they want to become Christians?
We're going to find out.
I know this can be extended to other institutions as well, but...
Let's find out what Sophia thinks, or if she has a question. Sophia, you're live on the air. Good morning.
Yes, please. I'd like him to explain to me what happened with the marriage of Jacob, later known as Israel.
Okay, I didn't know.
His
what happened
wives,
with the marriage of
because
Jacob?
all along it was that he married 2 sisters, and then he took their handmaids to have children by them. And then later on you see references to Jacob's 4 wives. So I want to know what happened there.
Okay, that again is in the cultural context. In those days you couldn't have more than 1 wife. But the issue with Jacob is simply this, that Jacob saw this girl Rachel and he wanted her and he wanted to marry her. But in those days the younger sister could not get married before the older sister. So that is why he gave the father. And it was the father who made the decision. I want to note that. It was the father who made the decision. Women in those days had no rights, which has even caused me to revise some of my my theology about women as well. I discussed this with the bishop some time ago. But it has caused me to revise my thoughts on women. But women had no rights. So when Jacob wanted Rachel, the father said, no, you're going to get Leah. This is it. And if you want Rachel, you work 7 more years. You get her. And then he had these children from other women as well.
Okay, Reverend Morris, we're going to pause. This is Preaching It. We're going to take in our final traffic report for the morning. Hello, Sergeant Johnson.
Hi, good morning to you. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay, but when I have to do the final traffic report, it feels like it takes so long to have a chance to chat with you.
Really things do happen.
You don't mind? Okay.
It takes so long for this to make goodly priest.
But is it worth your wait?
Of course, you know, I got to make sure he's good, you know.
Great. Well, then you can just, once you've given us this final traffic report, then you can sit back and enjoy it before you head out to your other duties.
No problem.
All right.
Good morning to you. Good morning to your guests. Good morning to all our viewers and listeners. No collisions reported on our streets. Only heavy flows, as reported earlier, on most of our roads. That's on Highway 7, Maxwell going on Bay Street via Topborough and Worthing. Along the Air Force Road, those areas are still busy. And on Sergeant Village, conditions are steady. The problems at that roundabout, at Garfield Summers roundabout, person not adhering to the markers in the road, that's why we are experiencing so many problems there. If you're coming from Sergeant Village heading towards the area of Forest Road, and ahead of you is blocked on Forest Road, there's no need for you to continue to block the way up. Just give it to those persons coming from your left on the ABC highway who proceeding straight on to Clapham Stretch, and I'm sure that will help ease the situation in the mornings. But beyond that, on Upper Carmark and Bishop's Court Hill, those areas are still busy. Along Government Hill, coming off Map Hill. There's a heavy build-up from South District going towards the area of JDC Ramsey Roundabout. That's heavy. There are delays there, so persons heading towards that area will be prepared. At the Fair Pilgrim Junction on Highway 5, a section of that roundabout, section of the road, is just, there's a slight detour to your right if you're coming out of the city, and proceed on to the area of the upper side of Highway 5. But in doing so, you must exercise some care. In the meantime, along Highway 4, Constant Road, conditions there still heavy. Hustle turning Watford Bottom, those areas still busy. Jackson on Green Hill, Royal Map Highway, and on Husbands Road, all building. Right on Highway 1, there's a steady heavy movement going into the city. University Drive and Spring Garden Highway, those areas are steady. The ABC Highway conditions were moderate. Keep it safe. A great day to you and all listeners, viewers, etc. Enjoy. Until tomorrow from operations, that has been our traffic.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Sergeant Johnson. Certainly a lot of good advice as usual right there. And that's our final one for the day. As he said, we look forward to hearing from the good Sergeant again on the morrow. But we continue with the segment called Preaching It. You can call and ask your questions to Reverend Charles Morris, 228-5562, 228-5563. Someone got a little impatient there. But you were continuing with your views on the things that should be changed or altered about the whole idea of marriage.
I just want to say before I go any further, I am not opposed to marriage. Right. I'm saying that there are other institutions other than marriage that are just as important as marriage and are even more binding than marriage. The question we have to ask ourselves, these days people get married for many reasons. And we have to ask ourselves one or two questions. Which would you prefer? A relationship in which a man and a woman live together out of sheer love. They're in love together, they do everything together, sheer love. Or a marriage situation where a man and a woman marry just for convenience.
So what is wrong with the situation where they marry, the sheer love is still there?
But that is good. When you marry and you have love, the sheer love is there, that is good. But you must admit we have situations where people just marry out of convenience for financial reasons. There's no love, there's nothing to it. It's just a matter of putting a ring and staying house together.
So what would you want? What would you want?
I want...
If you were the patriarch of the Anglican Church or whatever in Barbados, what would you want?
I would want a situation where we tend to recognize all unions, all. I said in a discussion, maybe flippantly, but when you sit there and think about it, I said in that discussion some time ago, marriage is one of the most unnatural institutions on earth. I said so. I said so because you have two people in a room for 9 months. They kick each other, do all kinds of things, and one comes out a few seconds before the other one, and they totally can't get along in life. But then you take two people who are barely friends and you put them together, and they must do this and do the next or something. That's a bit unnatural to me.
You mentioned that you would like, ideally, for all unions to be recognized. Having said that, what is your take on gay unions? Because in this society, that is another possibility.
I know you were going to get there, and I was hoping that you don't get there. The laws of Barbados do not recognize gay unions. I, therefore, cannot recognize them. Now, in terms of homosexuality, I have always said that right now it should be decriminalized. If the church continues to see it as a sin, it is okay. But I do not believe that we should be legislating on people's sexual behavior. If we do that, we have to legislate on all. We have to legislate on adultery. And if we do that, very few people will be outside walking about. Maybe, and I know who we want, but I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to talk about myself. I don't like talking about myself. But that is also, now we've seen that gay unions in North America, we've seen in England. It is something that we have to make a decision on. It's something the church will have to deal with.
What is the Bible's stance on it? What is the church's stance?
The Bible sees homosexuality as a sin. That's how the Bible sees it. Now, I know there are a number of people who are going to run to the Sodom and Gomorrah situation. The Sodom and Gomorrah situation has nothing at all to do with homosexuality. The cities were not destroyed because of the people the same sexes were having sex with one another. It was destroyed because of the way they were treating the strangers, because of the immorality in the society, not just because of as Mike, I can't even say that the city was destroyed because of that. The point is that something happened in one city that affected the other. I think some scientists said it was some combustion between oil and sand, something like that, or salt, I think it was, something to that effect. So I am saying that, you know, we, especially in the Anglican Church, we love everybody. We minister to everybody, and that should continue. When that issue becomes legal or not legal, when it becomes one in Barbados, then we have to deal with it as well.
I believe we have a caller holding, do we? Good morning, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning, go ahead please.
I will be brief, I don't want to take much time. But when I have to the pastor, so he would explain to me. Now in most marriages and most unions we have in Barbados and in the world as a whole, they always have problems. Because most men could compare the women, the present women they have, with the men that they had before. And the women could do likewise, compare the men with the man they had before too. Now I take it that God instituted virginity as a sign for marriage, because that's the time a woman lives in her innocence, and the man that took her virginity was actually her husband. In most references in the Bible to marriage, it was always with someone of their youth. There had to be a reason that God instituted virginity. I would like the pastor to explain to me what do you think is it? What do you think about virginity? Why was it instituted? God does everything pure. Marriage is supposed to be something pure.
But let's go back to the culture of that day. Even a woman's virginity did not belong to her. It did not belong to her, it belonged to the man. Look, a woman was owned by her father or her husband. And these are things we must understand. So if I wanted to have sex with a man's daughter, I go to him and I say, I want to have sex with your daughter. He can say to me, well, look, she's a virgin. Pay me some money. And he will say, well, you know, she's also beautiful. That's another extra. The woman had no say in that. Even if I had to go and rape a woman now, I did not offend the woman. I offended her owner, which is a father or a husband. That is why in those days a man could not commit adultery.
So what about this day, which is where we're at right now? In today's situation, most societies, women don't have to have the man go to the father to ask for that. I mean, it's a tradition that is practiced, but if we're talking about culture, there are a lot of things that are just completely unacceptable in today's culture. So what is the place for what he was asking within today's society framework? Virginity.
You really want to ask me? Want me to answer that, Cassandra?
He was asking.
That caused so much confusion in this place already. But I have said before, and I'm saying it again, I have not seen anywhere in the Bible where a woman must be this pure before she's married.
Can I ask a question about what we really should be worried about? Larry King has been married 7 times to 8 women, or 8 times to 7 women. Elizabeth Taylor had 6 husbands and 6 husbands. Should that not be our primary concern, the perversion of a holy institution for legal status? Having so many marriages is almost a joke. Convenience, marriage, isn't that what we should be more worried about?
That's what we should be worried about, and that's what I'm saying. We have to look at a new theology of these institutions in the Caribbean. I mean, people get married 13 times and 14 times. I mean, come on. And it depends on the partner too. If I see you and I marry you, know you're wealthy, I love you, or claim I do, you're wealthy, then I look at Cassandra, who's now I realize she's wealthier than you, so therefore I think
free to move on.
I move on and I get married to you, and I move on to somebody. We keep moving on.
So then is it okay? Are you finished?
Which brings us to another issue. And all of this, we forget the whole thing about HIV as well, because people then believe that you catch HIV/AIDS when you go there, you do this and do that. But I'm saying, suppose I am in a relationship with Katrina. We love each other. We've been faithful. We've been loyal. We've been everything. The relationship comes to an end. I go and get involved with somebody else. The same thing happens, the same faithfulness, the same loyalty, fidelity, everything. That comes to an end. We start another relationship. You know, in that process, none of us has been tested.
That's right.
None of us. So all of these things you have to take into consideration as well.
Katrina was mentioning the situation where people are getting married like 7, 8, 13 times, and that's one of the things we should really be concerned about. So then is it different if you are unmarried according to biblical terms, but moving from partner to partner, having the
same problem? It is the same problem. I'm saying that it is the same problem because in fact what I'm saying is that the same problems we have in marriages, we have outside.
And you're looking at not simply from a health perspective.
I'm looking for all perspectives.
Right. All right, seems as if we're out of time on this one, Rev. The Reverend Charles Morris, we were preaching it this morning, looking at marriage, and perhaps the discussion needs to continue in your head, among yourselves as well, about the theology, and also on our Facebook page, Morning Barbados on Facebook. You can continue to post your comments and engage in discussion on the whole question of whether or not we ought to look again at the theology of marriage.
Can I just say this before we
Yes, you
close? Reverend Morris, you may or may not know, I just celebrated a birthday in the best month of the year. Today is, of course, the first day of a new month, yes. But yes, I got a card. I got a card all the way from New York from Charmaine Ford. She's in, is it Bryn
She's
Mawr?
in the States.
Yeah, Bryn Mawr? Yeah. She's over there and she sent a card saying happy birthday. I don't know her. So nice.
She's obviously watching us.
May 16th.
May 16th.
Thank you, Charmaine, for watching CBC.BB.
It's been a great morning as usual. Morning Barbados. All right. Travel safely, slow down, and arrive alive.
Be safe.